My husband took the $100,000 gift I gave my daughter. But when the truth came out, I decided to take it all back my way. I used to think marriage was about partnership, about shared responsibilities, about love. I was wrong. For years, I played the devoted wife, the one who always put family first. I cooked, I cleaned, I planned birthday surprises, and went out of my way to make David's life easier. I remembered anniversaries, Valentine's Days, Christmases, every little occasion that should have meant something. David, he remembered nothing. My birthday came and went, like a ghost. No flowers, no card. Not even a lazy, half-assed happy birthday. As he scrolled through his phone. Christmas, a handshake at best. I should have known from the start. But love makes you blind. And I was a goddamn fool. But what hurt me most wasn't his lack of effort towards me, it was what he did for her. Ava, his perfect little princess. Every time I brought up his neglect, he never apologized. He laughed like it was funny. Like I was some ungrateful child whining for attention. God. Lucia, you're 36. You act like you're some kind of queen. Newsflash. You're just a housewife. You don't work, you don't bring in any money. So, what makes you think you deserve gifts? God. All women are the same. You get a ring on your finger and suddenly you think you're royalty. Newsflash, sweetheart. You married me. That doesn't come with perks. And the worst one. The one that made my gut clench every single time. Let's get one thing straight. You are my wife. But Ava, she's my blood. You will never be more important than her. Never. It was in those moments that the truth hit me. I wasn't his partner. I wasn't his equal. I was just the woman who cooked his meals, cleaned his house, and existed in the background of his life. His words were hurtful enough, but his actions cut even deeper. Because while I received nothing, Ava received everything. Ava was 16, but she acted like she owned the world. Spoiled, entitled, always expecting more. And David? He fed into it. She's just a kid, he'd say every time I called out her attitude. Of course I'm going to take care of her. Taking care of her meant designer handbags, expensive shoes, and the latest gadgets. While I couldn't even get him to acknowledge my existence. When I finally spoke up, when I dared to question why my efforts meant nothing, David scoffed. You're my wife. She's my daughter. Of course, she's more important. For God's sake, Lucia. Are you really getting worked up over a stupid handbag? A stupid handbag. That's what he called it. As if I had been asking for the world. As if I hadn't spent years going without while he treated his daughter like a goddamn queen. The worst part. Ava knew it. She saw the way he dismissed me. The way he let her get away with anything. And she used it. I caught her one day rummaging through my jewelry box. My mother's ring was in her hand. What the fuck do you think you're doing, Pete? Ava didn't even flinch. She twirled the ring between her fingers, a smirk playing on her lips. Relax. Daddy will just buy you another one. I saw red. My fists clenched so tight my nails dug into my palms. Put that down. She dropped it. But not before throwing one last parting shot. Daddy doesn't love you, you know? You're just here because he doesn't want to be alone. I could have slapped her, but I didn't. Because deep down, I knew she wasn't entirely wrong. My role in the house. Maid, chef, ghost. David. He didn't ask me what I wanted. He assumed I was fine because my desires didn't matter. Christmas after Christmas, I was the one picking out gifts for his family. Writing heartfelt notes and wrapping them with care, only to watch him take all the credit. Every year, I watched Ava unwrap dozens of presents. A new iPhone, the latest sneakers, a Gucci bag. Because apparently, a 16-year-old needed one. Me. Nothing. I vividly remember one Christmas Eve. We were at David's mother's house. The living room overflowed with wrapping paper and gift boxes. Ava sat in the center, flaunting her gifts like they were trophies. She noticed me watching and smirked. Feeling left out? Maybe if you actually mattered. Daddy would care. I gritted my teeth. I turned to David, expecting him to say something, to defend me, to reprimand her. He didn't. He was too busy laughing at some stupid joke his brother had made. And in that moment, I realized something. I was never going to matter to him. It was Father's Day when I finally stopped playing the role of the perfect wife. Every year, I went out of my way to make sure David had a perfect day. I cooked his favorite meal, picked up Ava, made sure the day was all about him. Not this time. I woke up early, got dressed, and walked out of the house without a word. I spent the entire day out. No texts, no calls, no explanations. Around noon, he called. "Where are you?" "I'm picking up Ava." I took a slow sip of my coffee before answering. I had plans. Didn't know I had to pick her up. His tone sharpened. "Lucia Gomez. It's Father's Day." I smiled to myself and threw his own words back at him. "So, you're not my father. So, why should I care?" Silence. Then an explosion. "Are you fucking kidding me? You're acting like a child." I hung up. When I got home that night, he was waiting in the kitchen, arms crossed. "Are you trying to prove something?" he asked, his voice tight with anger. I walked past him, picked up a letter from the table and shoved it into his chest. "Read it," I said coldly. Then I turned and walked upstairs, slamming the door behind me. Inside the letter, I laid it all out. The years of neglect, the way he prioritized Ava over me, the way he made me feel like an afterthought. I told him if he didn't change, it was over. For the first time since I married him. He looked genuinely shaken. A week later, he promised he'd do better. I almost believed him, but men like David don't change. And I was about to learn that the hard way. About a week before Christmas, David did something he'd never done before. "We're going shopping," he said during breakfast, barely looking up from his phone. I almost choked on my coffee. "What?" He sighed like it was a chore, like he was doing me a favor. "For your Christmas present. Pick something out and I'll buy it." I should have been suspicious. I should have wondered why. After years of dismissing every holiday, he suddenly wanted to make things right. But I didn't, because after all that, I still wanted to believe he could change. At the mall, I drifted past racks of clothes and shelves of perfume, pretending to browse while my mind focused on one thing. The handbag. I had been saving for months, squirreling away bits of grocery money, cutting corners wherever I could. All for that one bag I knew I could never justify buying myself. And there it was, in the display case. I stopped. David followed my gaze, his face already wearing a look of annoyance. "That?" I hesitated. "I've wanted it for a long time. I've been saving." He sighed. "I'll buy it." My heart leaped. "Really?" "Yes. But that's it. That's your only present this year." I didn't care. I didn't need anything else because for the first time, I had something of my own. On the drive home, I reached for the bag, ready to take it inside. But David shook his head. "Leave it," he said. "I want to wrap it, give it to you properly on Christmas." I kissed him on the cheek, stupidly grateful. "Thank you." And I meant it. The next morning, the house was quiet. I was exhausted from preparing Christmas Eve dinner. So I overslept, expecting nothing more than a quiet day. I walked into the living room, stretching, and then I saw her. Ava, sitting on the couch, legs crossed, holding my bag. I stopped, blinked. My mind struggled to process what I was seeing. It wasn't possible. The bag should have been in David's office, wrapped, waiting for Christmas. And yet, there it was, in her hands. "Where did you get that?" My voice came out sharper than I intended. Ava barely looked at me, twirling the bag in her lap like it was a prize. "Daddy gave it to me." I laughed. A short, humorless sound. "No, he didn't." She looked up then, her eyes filled with something like smugness. "Yes, he did." I turned to David. He was silent, gaze fixed, hands gripping the steering wheel. He wouldn't look at me. And then I knew. Ava smirked, tilting the bag towards me. It looks better on me anyway. My stomach twisted. Ava, I said slowly, trying to keep my voice even. That's my Christmas present. She shrugged. Not anymore. I turned to David, my voice rising. Tell her. Tell her it's mine. He exhaled through his nose, still refusing to meet my eyes. She saw it in the car, he mumbled. She really wanted it. I wanted it, I repeated, my voice shaking. And that's enough for you to take my gift and give it to her? He finally turned, his expression irritated, as if I was the one being difficult. Lucia, she's a kid. She begged me. She cried. You wouldn't understand. I let out a hollow laugh. He's right, David. I wouldn't understand. Because no matter how much I begged for you to give a shit, you never did. Ava rolled her eyes. God. It's just a bag. You're being pathetic. I whipped my head towards her, rage bubbling under my skin. You spoiled brat. That is not yours. Give it back. She clutched the bag tighter. I lunged for it, but she jumped off the couch, backing away as if I was the one stealing from her. David finally raised his voice. Lucia, enough. I turned to him. Enough. My hands were shaking. Enough. You stole from me. His expression darkened. She's my daughter. And I'm your wife. His jaw tightened. That's different. And that's when I realized something. Something I should have understood a long time ago. I would never be more important than her. Never. I stood there in silence as the realization settled in. The weight of it, pressing like a stone on my chest. Ava, sensing her victory, tossed her hair over her shoulder. This is so dramatic, she muttered. It's literally just a bag. I took a slow breath. Straightened my spine. Fine. Keep it. David blinked, surprised by my sudden calmness. Lucia, I held up a hand. No. She can keep it. I turned to Ava, who looked far too pleased with herself. I hope you enjoy it, I said softly, because it's the last thing I'll ever let you take from me. David frowned. What's that supposed to mean? I smiled. It wasn't a kind smile. You'll see. I turned and walked out of the room, my steps firm, my heart pounding behind me. I heard Ava's smug little voice. God, she's so dramatic. And David's tired, dismissive reply. She'll get over it. But I wouldn't. Not this time. The car was silent. David gripped the steering wheel, knuckles white, staring straight ahead as if nothing had happened. Ava sat in the back, casually scrolling through her phone, the stolen bag beside her like a trophy. I felt nothing. No more anger. No more betrayal. Just a strange, chilling clarity. We pulled into a gas station off the highway. I need to grab something, David mumbled. He put the car in park and stepped out without a glance at me. Ava didn't move, still absorbed in whatever mindless drama was unfolding on her screen. I exhaled slowly, gripped the steering wheel, and made a decision. Without a second thought, without hesitation, I slid into the driver's seat, put the car in drive, and pressed the gas. The tires screeched against the pavement. The gas station faded behind me in the rearview mirror. I saw David turn around, a look of confusion on his face. Then realization. Then rage. He ran towards the car. Too slow. I was already gone. Ava's phone slipped from her hands as she jolted forward. What the hell? She shrieked. Where's Dad? Where are you going? I didn't answer. Didn't even look at her. I drove straight. Fast. Without looking back. Ava kept yelling. First in shock. Then disbelief. Then, finally, panic. You can't just leave. Stop the car. What are you doing? I didn't say a word. I placed the handbag in my lap, reached into the side pocket, and pulled out a sticky note I had tucked inside. At the next red light, I slapped it on the dashboard, right in front of her face. Use the money to buy back my trust. If you can. Ava's mouth dropped open. I didn't give her time to respond. I turned the car onto the next highway exit and headed straight home. I turned off my phone. No calls. No texts. No screaming voicemails. When I got home, I wasn't even tired. I wasn't nervous. I wasn't shaken. It was over. I walked in, packed a small bag, grabbed my keys, and left. I spent Christmas Eve with my cousin, surrounded by people who actually cared about me. I didn't tell them what happened. I didn't need to. David called over 30 times. Left voicemails that ranged from furious threats to pathetic apologies. I didn't answer. I didn't go home until late the next day. When I walked through the door, David was waiting. His clothes were rumpled, his hair a mess, his phone clutched in his hand. Like he'd been holding it all night. The moment he saw me, he jumped up. "Lucia," I held up a hand. "Don't." He froze. Behind him, I saw a small pile of gift bags on the table. "I wanted to fix things," he stammered. "I bought you something. Just open it." "Okay." I walked past him, went straight to the table and pulled out the first box. A brand new iPhone, still in its wrapping. I grabbed the second bag. AirPods. I narrowed my eyes. Something felt off. I picked up the phone box again, ran my fingers over the packaging, then tore off the wrapping. The first red flag. The Apple logo looked strange. I flipped the box over. The words were misspelled. I grabbed the AirPods. Opened the case. The plastic felt cheap. Slowly, I turned to David. "You bought me a fake phone." His face paled. "What?" "It's not real." I tossed the box back onto the table. "And the AirPods are fake too." His mouth opened and closed. He looked like a fish gasping for air. I let out a dry, humorless laugh. "Even when you try to fix things, you manage to screw it up." David finally exploded. "Jesus. Lucia." He gestured wildly. "What do you want from me?" His voice cracked. "I tried." "Okay." I went out. "I bought you something. Isn't that enough for you?" I shook my head. "No, David." My voice was quiet, final. "It's too late." His entire body went rigid. "What the hell does that mean?" I grabbed my purse, slung it over my shoulder, and looked him dead in the eyes. "It means I'm done." I walked past him, out the door, and into the cold. This time, I didn't look back. David had always been blindly devoted to Ava, no matter what she did, no matter how cruel or manipulative she was. He worshipped the ground she walked on. But fate had a cruel way of humbling men like him. It all started with a phone call. I was in the kitchen when my phone rang. I didn't recognize the number. I answered. "Hello." There was a pause, then a familiar voice. "Ava's mother." "I thought you should know," she said, her tone clipped. "David's about to have the worst day of his life." I frowned. "What the hell are you talking about?" She sighed. "He's getting Ava's DNA test results today." I froze. DNA test. She let out a humorless chuckle. He's always been so desperate to believe she's his that I never thought I'd have to tell him the truth. But he kept hounding me about the real father. So I let him waste the money on a test. I guess he figured out I'd been lying to him. I gripped the edge of the counter. "You mean, oh, come on," she interrupted. "You knew, didn't you?" Anyone with eyes could see it. Ava looks nothing like him. But hey, he wanted to play the fool, so I let him. Before I could say anything, she laughed. "You should swing by when he gets the results. It's going to be an amazing show." Then she hung up. I don't know why I drove to David's that night. Maybe curiosity. Maybe a sense of closure. Maybe I just wanted to see the man who had spent years treating me like a second-class citizen in my own marriage finally get a taste of his own humiliation. When I walked in, I saw him sitting at the dining room table, fists clenched, the DNA test results crumpled in front of him. His face was pale, his eyes wide. Ava was nowhere to be seen. I closed the door behind me. "So," I said quietly. "How'd it go?" He looked up slowly, like a man who had just been hit by a freight train. "She's not mine." His voice cracked. "She's not my daughter." I leaned against the wall. "Took you 16 years to figure that out." David blinked as if he was still processing the reality. "I just thought you thought she was special." I finished for him. That she was your blood? That no matter what happened, she was the one thing in this world you could count on. His jaw tightened. I took a step closer. But she's not, David. She never was. Silence. Then rage. He grabbed the test results, stormed towards the front door, and slammed his fist against the frame. I'm going to kill her. That lying bitch. I laughed. I actually laughed. Oh, now you're angry? Now you care about being lied to. I crossed my arms. Where was all this righteous fury when you were dismissing me for her? When you were treating me like I was nothing while she walked all over you? His shoulders tensed. Lucia, this is different. No, it's not. I stepped closer, my voice dropping. This is karma. David exhaled sharply. I didn't know. Neither did I replied. I didn't know I was wasting my life on a man who would sell me out for a child that wasn't even his. That one hit him like a brick to the skull. I let the words sink in. Then I smiled. You deserved exactly what you got. I turned towards the door. I thought that would be the last I'd ever hear from him. But men like David don't give up that easily. 2 days later, he showed up at my apartment. I opened the door and there he was, standing there, arms overflowing with gift bags. Lucia, he said, a forced smile on his face. I bought you something. I stared at him, then at the bags, then back at him. He looked hopeful. I stepped aside and let him in. He placed the bags on the kitchen counter and pulled out the items one by one. See? Look. He held up a Louis Vuitton handbag, a Rolex, a diamond bracelet. I know I messed up, but I want to fix things. I want to start over. I raised an eyebrow. Where did you get the money for this? His smile faltered. I reached for the handbag and ran my fingers over the logo. The stitching was coming undone. I picked up the watch. The metal was too light. Then I grabbed the diamond bracelet and held it up to the light. It was plastic. I tossed it back onto the counter and laughed in his face. Oh my God. I shook my head. Did you really think this would work? He looked genuinely confused. What? I gestured towards the pile of cheap knockoffs. You show up with a bunch of fake designer gifts and expect me to just forget everything. His jaw tightened. They're not fake. I grabbed the Rolex, flipped it over, and pointed to the back. Rolex. With 2 LS. Are you serious? David's hands clenched into fists. Lucia. I'm trying. I leaned forward, my voice cold. No, David, you're pathetic. His face twisted with desperation. Please, Lucia. He took a step closer. I lost Ava. I lost my job. I can't lose you too. I took a step back. You lost me a long time ago. His breathing was heavy, erratic. So that's it? I nodded. That's it. David swallowed hard, blinking rapidly. I don't know what to do without you. I tilted my head. Not my problem. Then I opened the door and waited. For a moment, he just stood there. Broken, defeated. Then, without another word, he walked out. I closed the door behind him. And this time, I didn't look back. David thought he could escape his downfall. He thought he was smarter than everyone. That the world owed him something. Reality caught up with him faster than he expected. It started with whispers. Employees at his company noticed missing funds. Numbers that didn't add up. A quiet internal audit turned into a full-blown investigation. The finance department combed through the records and suddenly cracks started appearing in David's perfect little facade. Then the company's CEO got involved. Lawyers were called. The board reviewed the evidence. And then they called the police. I first heard about it from an old friend who still worked at the company. You are not going to believe this, she said over the phone. David's being investigated. I leaned against the counter, listening. For what? Embezzlement. They think he's been taking money for months. Hundreds of thousands. He's been spending it like crazy. Cars, trips, gifts. But most of it can't even be traced. Like he was trying to cover something up. I almost laughed. Of course he was. David never had any self-control. He spent money before he even had it, always assuming he could fix things later. This time, there was no fixing it. A week later, he was arrested in his own office. David always thought he was too important to face consequences. He strutted around like he owned the world, like he was invincible. So when the cops barged into his office, cuffs ready, he didn't even understand what was happening at first. "What the hell is this?" he'd scoffed, tossing his pen onto the desk. "David Miller, you're under arrest for financial fraud and embezzlement." One of the officers grabbed his arm. He tried to resist. "You have the wrong guy," David yelled, struggling as they forced his hands behind his back. "No, we don't." The officer's voice was ice cold. His colleagues stared as he was dragged out. Some whispered. Others just watched. Nobody stopped them. The same people he looked down on. The ones he thought he was better than. They didn't even care enough to be surprised as he was shoved into the back of a police car. Reality hit him like a brick wall. And that was just the beginning. The day after David's arrest, I got a text from Ava. I almost ignored it. But then I saw the words. "He's gone. Mom kicked me out. I have nowhere to go." I stared at the screen. The same girl who laughed in my face. Who told me I was nothing. Now she was coming to me for help. A second message popped up. "Please." I could have blocked her. Left her on read. But instead, I called. She answered immediately. "What do you want?" I said, my voice sharp. I don't know," she stammered. "I have nowhere to go. Mom says I'm a burden. She doesn't want me there. I don't know what to do." I heard the panic in her voice. She was scared. "Not my problem," I said coldly. She sobbed. "Lucia, come on, please." I cut her off. "You did this to yourself, Ava. Now deal with it." Then I hung up. I don't know what happened to her after that, but I didn't care. I wasn't going to go to David's sentencing. I had no reason to, but something compelled me to go. Maybe for closure. Maybe just the need to see him one last time. To see him face the consequences of his own actions. The courtroom was filled with murmurs when I walked in. His former colleagues sat in the back, eager to witness his final downfall. A few old friends whispered amongst themselves. Even Ava's mother had shown up, standing in the corner, arms crossed, looking like she wanted to be anywhere but there. Then David walked in. Or rather, he was dragged in. The man I married, the one who had mocked me, humiliated me, treated me like trash. He was unrecognizable. The perfect suit's gone. The arrogance wiped clean. He looked small in that orange jumpsuit. Then he saw me. His eyes went wide. He opened his mouth as if he wanted to say something. I stared back, my expression blank. The judge spoke, but I barely heard it. Charges were listed. Evidence reviewed. The room felt heavy. Then came the sentence. 5 years in federal prison. A sharp gasp echoed from somewhere in the back. I wasn't sure who. I kept my eyes on David. His mouth fell open. His hands clenched into fists. Then he turned to me. Desperation shone in his eyes. "Lucia, David." His voice cracked. "Please. Just wait for me. Wait for him." I stood up, walked towards him, and leaned in so close I could feel his breath. Then I whispered, "You don't deserve it." I pulled back. David's face crumbled. I turned and walked out of that courtroom without looking back. David thought he was untouchable. That he could lie, cheat, steal, and never pay the price. But life doesn't work that way. Ava lost everything. David lost his freedom. And I walked away free. So tell me,